The Jim and Terry Show, back in the saddle after a 2-week break. Did you miss us?
Look at all the friends you have around here.
We invited a crowd for this restoration tour. Yeah, we're restoring our Jim and Terry Show podcast. Restoring it? No, we're just redoing it. No, not redoing it. We're getting together.
We're just, we had a couple of weeks off. Terry was being a super grandpa and looking after some grandkids.
That's right. Beware, when I open my shirt, it's the big super grandpa.
Yeah, so good for you, That's one area that we were going to talk about.
We'll save that for a little podcast later on.
Sure.
This is our first in 2 weeks. We're going to be a little foggy, maybe a little grandpa groggy.
I'm just the way I've always said.
All right. Welcome to the Jim and Terry Show. I'm Terry.
I'm Jim.
And together we're just two guys with our mugs. Clink, clink.
Yeah.
That's okay. I know.
To drink once you clink.
Okay. Once you clink, you got to drink. Yeah. There you go. I love that. Not enough of whatever it is. The Jim and Terry Show, two retired guys who sit around listening to what? CBC. Save that for another podcast. I'm going to talk about the defunding of the CBC and all that stuff. Don't worry about it, Terry. I am going to go right now to immigration. Immigration?
Aren't we all immigrants, Terry?
I think that was supposed to be an accent of some sort, whether it was a Blarney accent.
I can never do what I'm actually trying to do.
Are you celebrating Joe Biden's visit to Ireland, celebrating 25 years, 30 years of peace in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, that's great.
It is great. Yeah, good news.
Now, I'm sure there's people threatening and all kinds starting to come back because Biden's Catholic and
Irish.
Yeah, and Irish descent.
Yes.
Anyways, we were talking about how we're all sort of immigrants. Even Indigenous people have their folklore, as I understand it. And please write in and tell us differently if you know something we don't. How they came from, I think there's old stories how they pushed out the giants, whoever the giants were. Maybe they were Mayans. Maybe the people were really teeny.
Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, we're all immigrants, so we're celebrating this family from Syria that lost their whole business due to war, and it's Peace by Chocolate. They built a business in Canada can you say that, Antigonish.
Nova Scotia.
And what a place to settle, because I believe they're Muslims, etc. And so they settled there, and they're establishing a wonderful business, and they're employing people, and the business is thriving, and they're doing wonderful. And we have to remember, as Canadians, we all came somewhere, from somewhere. My ancestry, as I understand it, on my dad's side is Scotland, and my mom's side England, if I understand it correctly.
So where did the Irish come?
The Irish was my wife, God rest her soul. It was her father was from Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, he came here and immediately lost his hair.
Wow, Canada's pretty scary.
Blamed it on Canada, but maybe it's true. Like maybe the conditions are different.
Well, we do know the stories of the Irish potato famine and people fleeing in the 1830s, 1840s.
Yeah,
what a harrowing visit.
He was just a boy.
Those ships were just carrying immigrants, but then there were the slave traders from the 1640s on. Those were not tourist boats at all.
No.
All right, so we're celebrating immigration, and we're using this Peace by Chocolate Syrian life experience to celebrate the contribution that everyone makes when they arrive in a new location, new country, new citizenship. How many years does it take? I forget. 5?
I'm guessing 5.
Okay. And you have to be able to recite something about the Canadian history. You have to be able to sing the national anthem.
I'd probably fail it.
You recognize the Canadian flag from a selection of American and Mexican flags, which one is Canadian. Whatever the citizenship process is, it's your sign that you are making this your more permanent home, not just that you're here to explore job opportunities. You're here to put down roots. In this case, this chocolate business had a going concern in Damascus in Syria before it was bombed in 2012. And that's when they had to start looking for a place to call home other than Damascus in Syria. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's part of the Assad war on Muslims in his, well, it's not war on Muslims, more on war on ISIS. Is that the
yeah.
same
Or
vintage?
Hezbollah? Is it Hezbollah?
I don't know, so you can clarify with us, but
Well, Lebanon's Hezbollah, isn't it?
you got me.
Keepers, it's all in the news. We should know this stuff.
We should know this stuff. We should know the PLO from Hezbollah. We should know terrorists from people advocating for their own rights and jurisdictions, but we don't. We're safely ensconced in our Hobbit Hole studio in Bob Cajun, watching the world go by.
And just think about it. Who was I talking to? My brother Bobby, I'm guessing, when he said, we're so fortunate. We've never had to go through a war. Like, I know we have people that have been in war.
Yes, Canadians have served in many NATO missions.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But as far as like a world war and going off to war like my dad had to do, and he volunteered to do it, we've escaped all that, the 70 plus years, not Bobby, he's younger than me, but you're going to get there, buddy.
That's a shout out to Bob, part of our ones and twos. Yeah, so getting back to this experience of war that we have not had to deal with, this family was disrupted. They had a going concern with this chocolate factory. Charlie, was it Wonka?
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Who played...
Johnny Depp played
Johnny Depp played the second version of
the
it.
first guy was...
How we get
really
off on chocolate tangents,
well, we're
I
tired.
don't know.
We're tired. We're
Maybe
both tired. You're exhausted.
And it's Easter.
Yeah.
So it's chocolate on my mind. Why is chocolate there and not other significant meanings and interpretations? I don't know. Maybe I didn't get enough chocolate. So Peace by Chocolate. I was going to order some so we could do this episode and sample some Peace by Chocolate.
Phenomenal.
And I'd encourage our listeners to look it up. Peace by Chocolate. I think it's .com. They've got a website, and you can learn all about them. They have a whole thing, a video.
Maybe if I head out east again, and that's a possibility.
You'll check out Antigonish?
Just check it out.
Well, you saw the photo of the factory and the number of employees. It's pretty.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty impactful.
It's I think it's New Brunswick, where I stopped in the chip factory on the way home.
Yeah.
It's called Longbridge Chips or
yes,
something.
Yeah. We get that brand here in Ontario. They
I
distribute it.
I didn't know that, and I went there and got a whole box, but I didn't get the one brand I wanted, which was
all dressed,
lobster.
all you can eat.
No, lobster. I wanted to get lobster because it's just another version, probably of barbecue,
Oh, the spices and stuff they
maybe
spread on this
Maybe
stuff.
they have it lobster with butter or something. I don't know.
Maybe they do. So you went to the chip factory, and if you go again to the East Coast, you would drop by the peacebychocolate.ca. And that's, again, a story. Why it's important is because we need to celebrate the journey in life of people who are, number one, immigrants, number two, refugees. Two different kinds of things. If you're an immigrant, you went through a legitimate process of going to a consulate somewhere and applying for immigration status and getting your Canadian seal of approval legitimately. And then there's the refugee status where you show up at the door and you claim that you were going to be oppressed or persecuted. And so under our agreement with the UN, and I think there's some protocol where we agree we will take some of these people in. And so we have a limit that we strive for. Canada has, I think, total immigration. Well, I'm not going to quote the statistic, but it's a significant number.
Well, we need people.
We do.
And we got to remember that. And if families aren't going to birth them, we need to bring them in. It's just the way economics works in a country. And the economy has to have people.
It does take people to make
the
wheels
if you want to retire like me, it takes people to put
loose
into
and
that fund.
fancy free. We need people to continue to contribute
like
to the CPP.
Insurance policy. That's what it sort of is for the elderly.
You're okay.
Well,
I'll
same
buy
idea.
that. Yeah.
People buy insurance. They don't pay hundreds of millions of dollars, but something goes wrong.
Are you saying the
there's a payout.
CPP is a pyramid scheme where we have to keep recruiting at the bottom levels to make sure there's enough? Isn't that fascinating?
Yes, actually.
I wasn't even going to go there, but now that I think about it, that's an interesting idea. So yes, we need more and more people to contribute as
That's
that
right.
big inverted pyramid called the boomers,
Yeah.
which is a huge mushroom
That's right.
cloud over the economy. If they retire, where's all the money coming from?
I also want to point something
sure,
else
go
about the immigrants as well, though. I know my church and my pastor and that is dealing with quite a number of immigrants that were tricked into coming to Canada.
As part of the farm labor.
Farm labor, and they were just put through pure hell.
Now, can I mention, if you can check it out, our ones and twos, the East Gwillimbury Farm.
This is part of
I'm not going to name the farm, but I will say that there were some ne'er-do-well intentions,
Oh, horrible.
horrible conditions.
Now, I also want to point out that, what do you call it when they're from Mexico? A lot of the people that were directing this show were Mexicans living here, so nationalists. what do you
Yes, yeah, expats.
call it? Expatriates, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that helped con these people and then helped make their life hell here.
Oh, isn't that a terrible thing when
But
you betray
this
your own
group has been,
humanity?
this group has been saved. I see the crowds.
Okay,
getting
and that's your church. Yeah, you can take a look at the monitor in front of you on that side to see that we're getting close to wrapping this up. So the theme was immigration, and we're celebrating the story of Canada as a haven for people needing a place of refuge.
Well, I said it in one of our shows previous when we talked about the border with Mexico. And I said, these people, some of them have traveled thousands of miles walking. Boy, maybe just let them keep going right up to Canada because you know they're strong, healthy people, that they can do that kind of thing and work.
And we have a country that we celebrate freedom. We celebrate the ability of people to find work, to make work, to support others. Policies that support. Policies that include. Policies that don't pick on other people.
Bob, don't shut it off yet. Don't shut it off yet. He hasn't got enough time to go into it.
The rant will continue on the next podcast of The Jim and Terry Show. I'm Terry.
I'm Jim.
And together we're still something else. Bye-bye.